Hi, I'm Lucy Edwards, Director of Client Success at VHT Studios. And today I have a great pleasure to interview Steve Lawrence from Baird and Warner.
Hi, Lucy. Glad to be here.
So, just a few words about your office and your company.
Few words. Okay, well, my name is Steve Lawrence, as you said. I'm the designated managing broker for our Libertyville branch here at Baird and Warner, and I've been here since 1997. So, what is that, 24 years?
Yep.
So, it's been a fantastic company to be affiliated with, and we have such a rich history. We are the oldest independent in Chicagoland, might even be the country. So our company was founded in 1855. So think about that for a minute.
Yes.
You were impressed with me being here in 1997. This is a family-owned business since 1855, so prior to Lincoln. So this company has evolved over many iterations of, talk about changes that we've gone through, from the Civil War to the Chicago fire to so many other things. And obviously here we are with COVID. So this company knows how to move with the times.
Absolutely. So your brand is amazing. And I would like to ask you about your brand and how your agents leverage the brand when they go to listing presentations and when they're meeting against so many competitors nowadays.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing that separates us is it is family owned. And with the longevity, talk about stability. It's not going to go away. We're not going to be sold. I mean, that just to give that peace of mind to both our agents and also the consumer. It's like, this is a brand we know we can trust. It's a brand that's not going to go anywhere. It's a brand that's going to be here tomorrow. So it is a huge thing to be able to, who else can say that?
Absolutely, and part of the brand is consistency.
Absolutely.
So since 1855 till today, you have consistency. Quality, consistency, trust, education, so I'm sure it all comes with the brand.
Absolutely, and that's always been a big focus is education and training of our agents. That's my background, is education. That's what my degree is in, and I've just enjoyed being a teacher all these years.
Well, you certainly have great facility in your office for your training sessions, and I'm sure they will be back after COVID.
Absolutely, and that's, I think, is one thing we will continue to do, is still deliver that virtually. So we'll do it live and virtual, just because it makes it so much easier for the agents to, I had an appointment at training time at 9:30, I'm going to catch it at 2 o'clock. It has been extremely efficient.
How did the message change, the message about the brand or the message about your agents with COVID? Or did it change at all?
It changed to a certain aspect. Again, being a family-owned company, COVID really brought the family even closer. So family supported family, who needed help, who was, but the main message still was, we're all about training. Did we have to learn some things pretty quick? Absolutely. There was a lot of technology that was out there, though, too, that was just waiting to be tapped. So, if you look for a silver lining with COVID, it really forced us to say, hey, let's use some of these efficiencies. We got the announcement on the shutdown on a Friday. We had training on Monday of how to use Google Meet, how to have a virtual meeting with your clients, how do you share a screen, how do you do, and we already had virtual listing presentations, virtual buyer presentations on tap. They just totally got used during last year. So
that is fantastic. And obviously, my next question kind of flows into marketing strategy. So I can see that you have been changing the marketing strategy even before COVID, preparing for virtual showings and virtual open house and virtual presentations, listing presentations.
Right. And really just use that even more. And being partners with VHT, we already had very nice pictures, and certainly they have video and also, but doing then Facebook Live and more videos on the house and doing open houses and giving those kind of tours, especially at the beginning. People were really a little nervous about having people into their house, and also buyers were just like, you know what, let me just kind of see it, even if I want to take it to a live showing. So there was a lot of protocols, especially the first 60 days. Certainly, I think more people are more comfortable. There's still a lot of precautions taken, but not like when it first happened. And being able to have all that video at the tip, and you got to thank Apple and Samsung for good cameras.
Well, and I certainly look forward to producing everything with our good cameras.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Well, thank you. Well, I would like to talk about inventory or lack of inventory.
Yeah, so it was kind of an interesting year. You know, we got the shutdown in March. April was really kind of a regroup, what's going to happen.
Exactly.
You know, the homeowners and stuff backed off. Then the market really just torched. It was really, really active through June, July, August, September. We really saw then the push November, December, and into then this year. As people like, you know, the homes became different. As opposed to just a home, now they had kids at home doing online schooling. They had people working from home. So the house somewhat shifted and needs of the house shifted. So people are like, we need a bigger house. And then you also had a lot of people coming from the city and apartments that said, we want a backyard. We want to be able to, you know, have some privacy and some space that we're feel safe in. So the demand for the housing is just skyrocketed, and not enough people are moving. So there's some interesting demographics that are happening, and I'm sure it's nationwide, but certainly in our area. So you've got this baby boomer generation that has decided, I'm not quite ready to move. I want to see where my kids are going to land. I still want to keep the big house so we have the family celebrations and place to come home. But I do want to buy someplace where it's warm. Mm-hmm. So we see a lot of activity. Tennessee, Texas, certainly Florida and Arizona have always been hot spots. No pun intended. For people to go. So they're not putting their house on the market yet. You've got the millennials that are really starting to buy, and you also have the Z generation that are starting to come out into the market too. So I really foresee a good solid 10 years of just a strong market, because there's this demand, and for really the last 14 years since the downturn in 2008, there's not been a lot of building. I mean, there's very little new construction in the area. It's slowly starting to come. We've just listed a project, Crossings of Mundelein, which is a townhouse development. Mm-hmm. And those sales are going very well because there's just not a lot of brand new construction. People want it. So I think that until the builders come back really strong and to pick up this piece of inventory, and then our generation decide, okay, I don't need the big house anymore. And a lot of those young kids, those millennials, et cetera, are sitting on a pile of cash because they moved back in with the folks, lived rent-free for, you know, a couple of years, and now they're, you know, some strong buyers that are in the marketplace. So, but it's going to be a really strong market for the next, definitely, 5 to 10 years. I think it's going to be really strong just because, you know, the new families are settling.
Interesting. What about rental market? You're in Chicago, so I'm from New York area, and I would love to know how rental market is in your area.
That's actually kind of one of our hopes we're going to grab some inventory from, because what we saw, we had the unintentional landlord. You know, they bought the house in 2006 at a very inflated price. The market crashed. They've been sitting on this house for a good 12 years because they couldn't sell. It wasn't worth what they paid for it, so they've been renting it out. Some of those are slowly coming on as their lease is coming up. They're like, you know what? It's time to sell this property finally.
Perfect.
And we have seen a good 10% increase in just the appreciation in January alone. So as this goes out throughout the year, and again, supply, demand, prices go up. So,
what about marketing strategy? Being COVID, and everyone is careful and will be careful for a while, being no inventory, and your agents are going against so many competitors, probably 5, 10 another agents and even agents within the company. How do they deal with listing presentations? How do they prepare, and the strategy they're working on?
Great question. And, you know, the bigger, you know, the consumer is also seeing that and saying, why do I need a realtor even? So one of our competitors is a seller themselves going, I'm put it on myself and I'm going to sell it. And the key is, and that is just a huge mistake, more than ever right now, in my opinion, realtors are more needed than ever on both sides of the transaction. Will they, if you put your house on the market today with a sign, will you get a buyer? Yes. is it the right buyer? So many times, and especially we saw this last year too, you'd sell the house, it would fall apart. You'd have to sell it again. You know, you had home inspection issues. There was mold or something in the attic, or there was things that came out in their home inspections. So one of the things that my agents are really doing is focusing on that pre-marketing to the point of let's get the house ready first. We're even doing some pre-home inspections for the seller. So it's not as in-depth as a buyer inspection, but it's let's get rid of the really big items. Do we have radon? Do we have mold in the attic? What are some of those things that we can just get away from, so when the buyer does come in, they're like, you know what? Every house has some issues, but it's good enough to move forward with it. Because nothing hurts a sale more than it comes on and goes off and then comes back on again, because the consumer is thinking, what's wrong with that house? Heck, realtors are saying, why'd that fall apart? So
right.
We want to know more. So, and then the pre-marketing has become even more important. You know, having the great pictures beforehand, sending out those emails to the agents, to the consumer going, we got this house coming on. We're not looking for one buyer, we want 5, 6 offers. What's the best buyer? So who's the most qualified? Who's going to get to the finish line? Not, let's hope this one goes. And that's just a huge mistake I see from a lot of consumers and some agents not taking advantage of that, the pre-marketing stuff.
I totally agree with you. The house is not sold until your commission check is cleared.
You got that right.
But in my opinion also, when you prepare for your marketing, it's also investment in the future. It's your next presentation. It's your next listing. It's your reputation.
Absolutely.
It's part of your brand. And so it is very important, even if you know you're going to sell the house on Sunday and we are taking photos on Friday, you should still go through with your marketing plan.
Absolutely, and certainly house dependent, but do you need a drone shot? Do you want the gold picture pictures? You want, you know, put it in the best light that you can possibly can. Absolutely, agree with you 100%.
2021 is here. We learned a lot in 2022, right? So what's your vision for 2021, for your office and for your agents?
More good times. You know, and I know that sounds a little Pollyanna possibly, but with demand is there, the market will come. You've got this whole shadow buyer, you know, buyers that are going to be coming online. We are going to get more inventory. People are going to move on with their life. There's going to be some sunshine states, and although we have a lot of sellers moving up to Michigan and stuff too. So this is a great area. You got the chain of lakes in our area. You got Lake Michigan in our area. Lake County is a beautiful place. Lots of trails, etc. So I just see good times for Lake County, Baird Warner, and this office.